I was just enjoying playing chess on chess.com when all of a sudden I was playing a cheater. However, at the time I didn't even know it, and yet I was still able to get some karma on the cheater because of a horrible, silly mistake that he made in the middle of the game. Here is the game. Alright, so this game is pretty hilarious simply because of how he messed up. It's pretty funny, and I would like to point out that he did get quite a bit of a higher rating after this game. He got banned 2 days ago, and he got to 2388 before finally being banned by chess.com, which is great. And here's the game where I ended up getting a great position because of a horrible mistake by him. So here we go. He starts the game off with the move e4, and I go into the French defense with the moves e6 and then d5. Now, white goes into the advanced French. Of course, this is just stockfish. He's not actually playing the game. And after the move c5, we get into the advanced French with the move knight to c6. Now, the idea here is basically I'm just trying to put pressure here, and my queen can go to either c7 or b6 at some point. My bishop can develop, maybe my rook's going to come over. There's just a lot of ideas in this opening, and what ends up happening is my rook comes here, and after pawn takes, bishop takes, he aggressively plays the move b4. And here, although it looks maybe a little bit dangerous for black, black is okay if we play the move bishop to b6. White's slightly better, but it's not the end of the world. White castles, and I play the move knight to e7. Now, what's the point of this move? Well, the point of this move is to go knight to g6, or maybe to play f6 at some point, but basically the whole idea is to just try to attack this pawn on the square e5. So by moving the knight to this square, we attack it with both our knights, and then maybe queen c7, and we're just trying to take this pawn. That's it. That's not super complicated of a strategy, but here my opponent decides to go knight to a3, playing aggressively. The idea of this move is to come in here. So he wants to get to the d6 square and kind of just destroy my entire position. So I decide, at least for now, to just ignore that and go after the pawn. Because if there's no pawn, there's really no attack that he has here. So he decides to take the knight to make his strategy work. And this is stockfish, but I didn't know that at the time. And here I take with the h-pawn. Now, here I could have taken with the f-pawn, but this would have been a worse choice. Why? Well, if I take with the f-pawn at this point, this knight coming in here is quite a bit stronger because firstly, this is kind of weak, and now I have this pawn here that's a target. Say knight g5 at some point, and it's kind of hard to defend this pawn, and my position is uncomfortable. I would get the open file once I castle with my rook, but it's really not worth it because something just like this, and this is uncomfortable. So what happened instead is I took like this, I got the open file just for a couple seconds, I move my bishop back here after he comes in for the attack. So here I'm just preventing him from going here, and he goes there anyways, and my idea here is that if the pawn comes here, well, I'm going to do my best to just attack this pawn and get rid of it. I felt like this position was okay for me, but Stockfish disagrees and thinks that White's going to have chances here. So I bring my knight back, which is not the best move, but the idea, the idea of this is to just move the bishop and take the pawn. But what happens instead is queen takes d5, which gave me a mini heart attack when it was played over the game because I thought I was getting checkmated or I was just going to lose this game instantly because this is a move that was never in my brain. I never expected this move, and I had no clue what was going on until I realized I'm just winning. And what actually happened is really, really funny. My opponent here, Stockfish, told him, play the move queen to d4. So he has a different computer open, whatever. Stockfish is telling him, or whatever computer engine he's using, is just telling him go queen d4. However, he either misread it or just misclicked and played queen takes d5 instead. So what ends up happening is I'm just up a clean queen. I'm just up a queen. And now the question is, can I beat Stockfish up a queen? So bishop g5 attacking the queen, I move the queen. He gives me a check, I block the check. He moves the bishop attacking the queen, I take the pawn, and I am just okay. There should be really no reason I lose this game, even against Stockfish. He takes a pawn, I take his pawn. He attacks my queen with the bishop, and sometimes in a this isn't a complicated position, but I'm able to simplify by just sacking the rook for the bishop and pawn, because in this position it doesn't really matter that I just lost a point of material if I'm up a queen. It just makes the position easier to simplify. So rook to b1, attacking my b7 pawn here. I defend it, he goes here, and he's just trying to put a little bit of pressure on different parts of the board, but Stockfish here, it's not good enough to beat most people up a queen who are over 2,000. So the rook comes here, just pins the bishop. I move the pawn up, the idea being that if white just plays something random, well, that blunders the rook, but let's just say they go here. The idea is after attacking the knight, wherever the knight moves, the idea is that we're just going to get this and try to checkmate white. But instead, what we get in the game is, sorry, not that, we get h4 from Stockfish, and the rook takes his pawn here because the bishop is pinned to the king, like so. And the rest of the game is pretty simple. I just put pressure on white. He tries his best, but I feel like this was a good move in the game. Just attacking the rook. I force the rook to go up, and then I pin the knight to the king, which is a great idea because after the rook comes up, we just keep putting pressure on here. And we have so many pieces attacking this knight that once the dust settles, we have this check with the rook. The king is forced to move. We take the rook, and it's game over. Checkmate in 2 moves. The king goes here, it's checkmate, and the king goes here, check, and checkmate. So the game is over. White hilariously lost despite using Stockfish. Can you imagine being so bad at chess you feel the need to cheat, and then also still losing? That's pretty funny, but yeah. Unfortunately, I've played tons of cheaters. However, if you subscribe, I'll make a video on another one. Thanks.